Something changes after 50. Not dramatic, not painful, just subtle shifts most people dismiss as normal aging, but research shows these quiet signals often matter more than we think. 3 silent warnings, in particular, are overlooked by millions, and recognizing them early could change everything about how you age. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. And what you're about to learn might be exactly what your body has been trying to tell you. The first silent warning, often ignored after 50, is persistent fatigue that feels different from normal tiredness. Everyone feels tired occasionally. However, research indicates that ongoing low energy even after adequate rest may reflect changes in metabolism, sleep quality, stress response, or nutrient absorption that become more common with age. This type of fatigue often develops gradually, making it easy to normalize. People may attribute it to work, responsibilities, or simply getting older. Yet experts suggest that consistent fatigue can be a sign that daily habits, recovery, or underlying conditions should be reviewed with professional guidance. One reason this fatigue goes unnoticed is that it doesn't always interfere dramatically with daily life. Tasks are still completed, routines continue, but with less enthusiasm and more effort. Over time, this can affect physical activity levels, mood, and motivation. Research indicates that reduced movement and social engagement can then occur, creating a cycle that further impacts overall well-being. Observing changes in energy patterns rather than dismissing them may help support healthier aging. The distinction between normal tiredness and concerning fatigue lies not just in intensity but in pattern and persistence. Normal tiredness responds to rest, a good night's sleep, a relaxing weekend, or a brief vacation typically restores energy levels, but the fatigue that deserves attention lingers despite rest, creating a baseline of diminished vitality that becomes the new normal. People might find themselves needing an afternoon nap when they never did before, or struggling to stay alert during evening activities that once presented no challenge. They might notice that recovery from physical exertion takes longer than it used to, or that the mental clarity they once had in the afternoons now fades by mid-morning. These patterns suggest something more systematic than simple tiredness. Yet because they develop incrementally, they're often rationalized away until they become so pronounced that they can no longer be ignored. The challenge is that this type of fatigue doesn't announce itself with clear boundaries. It seeps into daily life so gradually that people often can't pinpoint when it started or how much it has progressed. Morning routines that once felt automatic may begin to require more mental preparation. Activities that were previously enjoyable may start feeling like obligations. The desire to participate in social events or physical hobbies may diminish, not because interest has faded, but because the energy required feels disproportionate to what it once was. This subtle erosion of vitality can reshape entire lifestyles without conscious awareness, as people begin making small accommodations that eventually add up to significant changes in how they live. What makes this particularly challenging is the gradual nature of the decline. There is rarely a single moment where someone thinks their energy has changed dramatically. Instead, it's a collection of tiny adjustments. Choosing the elevator more often instead of stairs, declining evening invitations more frequently, taking longer to recover from activities that once felt routine, or simply feeling less motivated to engage with life's spontaneous opportunities. Each individual change seems insignificant, easily rationalized as a reasonable response to a busy day or a natural consequence of maturity. But collectively, these small shifts can represent a meaningful change in overall vitality that deserves attention rather than acceptance. Another factor connected to fatigue after 50 is sleep quality. Studies suggest that sleep architecture naturally changes with age, leading to lighter and shorter sleep cycles. However, experts warn that consistently unrefreshing sleep may be associated with lifestyle habits, stress levels, or health conditions that benefit from professional assessment. Monitoring sleep patterns and discussing persistent changes with a healthcare provider can be an important step toward maintaining daily vitality. The relationship between sleep and daytime energy is complex and often misunderstood. Many people assume that if they spend 8 hours in bed, they must have received adequate rest. But sleep quality involves much more than duration alone. The depth of sleep, the number of disruptions, the balance between different sleep stages, and even the timing of sleep all contribute to how restored the body feels upon waking. After 50, many people experience more frequent nighttime awakenings, whether from the need to use the bathroom, physical discomfort, temperature changes, or simply lighter sleep patterns that make them more susceptible to environmental disturbances. These interruptions may seem minor individually, but their cumulative effect over weeks and months can significantly impact overall energy reserves. Additionally, conditions such as sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome, or chronic pain may develop or worsen with age, creating hidden barriers to restorative sleep that people don't immediately recognize as medical concerns requiring attention. The problem compounds when poor sleep affects daytime function, which then impacts evening routines and sleep preparation, creating a cycle that becomes increasingly difficult to break without conscious intervention and often professional guidance. Before we move to the second warning, if you're here looking for real information about health after 50, you're in the right place. So stick with me until the end of this video because I am going to share 3 signs that most people completely ignore. The second silent warning many ignore after 50 is gradual changes in balance, coordination, or reaction time. These changes often appear subtly: a slight hesitation when standing up, occasional unsteadiness on stairs, a slower response when reaching for an object. Research indicates that balance relies on complex interaction between muscles, joints, vision, and the nervous system. With age, these systems may change at different rates. Because these shifts are often mild at first, people may simply adjust their movements without thinking about it. Experts suggest that this silent adaptation can mask underlying declines in strength, flexibility, or sensory feedback. While occasional imbalance can happen to anyone, consistent patterns deserve attention. Maintaining balance is closely linked to independence and confidence in daily life. The body's balance system is remarkably sophisticated, constantly processing information from multiple sources to maintain stability and coordinate movement. The inner ear provides information about head, position, and motion. The eyes contribute visual cues about the environment and spatial relationships, and proprioceptors and muscles and joints send feedback about body position and movement. The brain integrates all this information in real time, making constant microadjustments to maintain equilibrium. When any component of this system begins to function less efficiently, the entire system must compensate, and these compensations often happen automatically and unconsciously. A person might start taking more careful steps without consciously deciding to do so, or they might begin reaching for handrails or furniture for support more frequently than they used to, not because they feel particularly unsteady, but because some instinctive part of their nervous system has detected a change and initiated protective behaviors. These automatic adjustments can be so subtle that they go completely unnoticed by the person experiencing them, yet family members or close friends might observe that someone moves differently, takes more time on stairs, or shows more caution in environments they once navigated with ease. This is why external feedback can be so valuable. It provides perspective that internal awareness alone might miss. Studies suggest that reduced balance may also influence activity choices. People may avoid uneven ground, physical hobbies, or social outings that involve movement. Over time, this can lead to decreased physical conditioning, which further affects stability. This cycle highlights why awareness matters. Noticing small balance changes allows for timely conversations with professionals about safe ways to stay active and support mobility. The psychological impact of balance concerns shouldn't be underestimated either. When people begin to feel less confident in their physical stability, they often start limiting their activities in ways that extend far beyond actual safety concerns. A person who once enjoyed hiking might stop going to trails they've navigated successfully for years. Someone who loved dancing might decline invitations to events where they would normally participate. These decisions are rarely made consciously or dramatically. They emerge as small preferences and gentle declines that accumulate over time. The problem is that reduced activity accelerates the very changes that prompted the caution in the first place. Muscles that aren't challenged regularly lose strength more quickly. Joints that aren't moved through their full range of motion become stiffer. Balance systems that aren't tested regularly become less responsive. This creates a self-reinforcing cycle where decreased confidence leads to reduced activity, which leads to genuine declines in physical capability, which further decreases confidence. Breaking this cycle requires awareness of its existence and intentional effort to maintain appropriate levels of physical challenge, which is why early recognition of balance changes is so important. When addressed early, before significant confidence loss or physical decline has occurred, balance concerns can often be improved through targeted exercises, environmental modifications, or professional interventions that preserve both capability and confidence. Vision and hearing also play roles in balance and reaction time. Research indicates that even mild sensory changes can influence how the body responds to its environment. Regular checkups and open discussions with qualified professionals may help identify manageable factors. These observations are not diagnoses but signals worth respecting. And look, if you're finding this useful, stay with me until the end because there's still a lot more important stuff for us to talk about. And if you want to keep getting this type of content about healthy aging, subscribe to the channel. It really helps me continue bringing this information to you. Sensory changes after 50 are extremely common but often go unrecognized because they develop so gradually. Vision changes might manifest as difficulty with depth perception, reduced ability to see in low light conditions, or slower adjustment when moving between bright and dark environments. These changes can make stairs more challenging, curbs harder to judge, and uneven surfaces more difficult to navigate safely. Hearing changes, particularly in the ability to hear higher frequencies or to distinguish speech from background noise, can affect spatial awareness and reduce the ability to detect approaching hazards. Both vision and hearing provide crucial environmental information that the brain uses to maintain balance and coordinate movement. So even mild declines in these senses can have disproportionate effects on physical confidence and stability. The third silent warning, often overlooked after 50, is subtle digestive or appetite changes. These changes rarely feel urgent. Portions may get smaller without intention. Certain foods may feel less appealing. Mild discomfort may appear after meals and then fade. Research indicates that digestion naturally evolves with age due to changes in gut motility, enzyme production, and hormone signaling. Experts warn that ignoring these shifts may affect nutrient intake over time. When appetite decreases or digestion feels slower, people may unconsciously reduce the variety of foods they consume. This can influence energy levels, muscle maintenance, and overall resilience. Because the changes are gradual, they are often accepted as normal rather than explored. The digestive system is remarkably complex, involving not just the stomach and intestines, but also the liver, pancreas, gallbladder, and an intricate network of nerves and hormones that regulate everything from appetite to nutrient absorption. Age-related changes can affect any part of this system, leading to subtle shifts that are easy to attribute to other causes or simply to ignore. Decreased production of stomach acid can affect how well certain nutrients are absorbed. Changes in gut motility can lead to feelings of fullness after smaller meals or can cause irregular bowel patterns. Alterations in the gut microbiome can influence everything from digestion to immune function to mood. These changes don't typically cause dramatic symptoms, but they can gradually affect nutritional status, energy levels, and overall health in ways that compound over time. The interconnection between digestion and overall health is profound yet often underappreciated. Poor nutrient absorption doesn't just affect energy, it can impact bone density, muscle mass, cognitive function, immune response, and even mood regulation. When digestive changes reduce the intake or absorption of key nutrients, the effects ripple through multiple body systems, often manifesting in ways that seem unrelated to digestion. Someone might attribute fatigue to poor sleep when it's actually related to inadequate iron absorption. They might blame age for muscle weakness when it's partially due to insufficient protein intake or absorption. These connections make digestive health a cornerstone of overall well-being. Yet the subtle nature of digestive changes means they are often the last thing people consider when evaluating their health status. Hydration also plays a role. Studies suggest that thirst perception can decrease with age even when the body still needs fluids. Mild dehydration may contribute to digestive discomfort, fatigue, and concentration changes. Paying attention to hydration habits and digestive comfort can provide useful insights into overall health patterns. The decreased sense of thirst that often accompanies aging is particularly insidious because it removes one of the body's primary mechanisms for maintaining proper hydration. People may simply not feel thirsty even when their bodies would benefit from more fluids. This can lead to chronic mild dehydration that affects multiple body systems. Digestion slows when the body lacks adequate water. Cognitive function can be impaired. Physical performance declines. The kidneys must work harder. Joints may feel stiffer because the lubricating fluids around them become less adequate. None of these effects is typically severe enough to prompt immediate concern, but together they can significantly impact quality of life and may be entirely preventable through conscious attention to fluid intake regardless of thirst signals. Digestive changes can also be influenced by stress, medication use, and activity levels. Experts emphasize that persistent or worsening digestive symptoms should be discussed with a healthcare professional. Educational awareness does not replace evaluation but supports informed conversations and timely attention. Another aspect related to digestion is oral health. Research indicates that changes in dental comfort or chewing ability may affect food choices. This connection is often overlooked, yet it plays a role in nutrition and digestion. Regular dental care and open communication with professionals support broader health goals. Dental health has far-reaching implications that extend well beyond the mouth itself. When chewing becomes uncomfortable or when dental problems make certain foods difficult to eat, people naturally begin avoiding those foods. Unfortunately, the foods that become difficult are often crunchy vegetables, tough proteins, and fibrous whole grains, precisely the foods that provide important nutrients and support overall health. As dietary variety decreases, nutritional quality often declines as well. People may shift towards softer, easier-to-chew options that tend to be more processed and less nutrient-dense. This dietary shift can affect energy levels, muscle maintenance, immune function, and digestive health, creating another example of how a seemingly localized problem can have system-wide effects. Beyond these three warnings, there is a common thread. Subtle changes are easy to dismiss when they do cause immediate discomfort. However, studies consistently suggest that early observation supports better long-term outcomes. This doesn't mean assuming problems where none exist, it means staying attentive and curious about the body's signals. Maintaining health after 50 is less about reacting to crises and more about noticing patterns. Experts recommend tracking energy levels, movement confidence, and digestion over time. Writing down small observations can help clarify whether changes are occasional or consistent. This information can be valuable during professional consultations. The practice of self-observation is a skill that improves with intentional cultivation. Many people go through their days on autopilot, not really tuning in to how they feel physically until something demands attention through pain or significant dysfunction. Developing the habit of periodic self-assessment, taking a few moments to consciously notice energy levels, physical comfort, mood, appetite, and other indicators can provide valuable information about trends over time. These observations don't need to be elaborate or time-consuming, but they do need to be honest and consistent. A simple journal noting daily energy levels, sleep quality, appetite, and any physical sensations can reveal patterns that would otherwise remain invisible in the flow of daily life. The key is creating a regular practice of checking in with the body. Much like regularly checking the oil level in a car or the batteries in a smoke detector, these small acts of preventive attention can catch developing issues before they become significant problems. The information gathered through self-observation becomes particularly valuable when shared with healthcare professionals, providing them with detailed patterns rather than vague recollections, which can lead to more accurate assessments and more effective interventions when needed. Lifestyle factors also influence how these silent warnings appear. Physical activity adapted to individual ability, balanced nutrition, adequate sleep, and stress management are commonly associated with better aging outcomes. Research indicates that even modest, consistent habits may support physical and cognitive resilience over time. These are general associations, not prescriptions, and individual needs vary. The key word here is adapted. What works at 50 may need modification at 60, and what serves well at 60 might require adjustment at 70. Flexibility in approach, willingness to modify routines as needs change, and openness to trying new strategies all contribute to successful aging. This might mean transitioning from high-impact exercise to lower-impact alternatives that still provide cardiovascular and strength benefits, adjusting meal timing or composition to support changing digestive needs, or incorporating new stress management techniques as life circumstances evolve. The goal is not rigid adherence to a perfect routine, but rather a responsive adaptation that honors what the body needs at each stage. Social engagement is another often overlooked factor. Studies suggest that maintaining social connections can influence awareness of health changes. Conversations with peers may highlight differences or similarities that prompt reflection. Isolation, on the other hand, may make it easier to ignore subtle shifts. The protective effect of social connection operates through multiple pathways. Social interaction provides cognitive stimulation that helps maintain mental sharpness. Physical activity often increases when people maintain social engagements that involve movement. Emotional well-being benefits from meaningful relationships and regular interaction. Perhaps most relevantly to the topic of silent health warnings, social connections provide opportunities for comparison and feedback that can highlight changes a person might not notice in themselves. A friend might comment that someone seems more tired than usual, or express concern about balance or coordination changes that the person has been unconsciously accommodating. These external observations can serve as valuable wake-up calls that prompt more careful self-assessment and professional consultation. Beyond the direct health monitoring benefits, social engagement also provides motivation and accountability for maintaining healthy behaviors. People who regularly interact with others are more likely to maintain grooming and appearance routines, prepare proper meals rather than snacking randomly, maintain regular schedules, and engage in physical and mental activities. The social calendar itself creates structure that supports health-promoting behaviors. Conversely, isolation can lead to a gradual erosion of these routines, as there's less external motivation to maintain them and fewer people to notice when they slip. This is one reason why social isolation is consistently associated with poorer health outcomes in older adults. It's not just the loneliness itself, but the cascade of behavioral and awareness changes that often accompany it. It's important to remember that aging itself is not a condition to be fixed. It is a natural process. The goal is not to eliminate change, but to understand it. Educational information helps people make informed choices and engage proactively with healthcare professionals when appropriate. Health decisions should always be discussed with qualified professionals who understand individual history and context. Self-observation supports these discussions but does not replace them. Recognizing silent warnings is about respect for the body, not fear of decline. As life progresses beyond 50, awareness becomes a powerful tool. Small signals, when noticed early, can guide supportive adjustments and professional conversations. Ignoring them doesn't make them disappear. Observing them creates opportunities for understanding. Continuing to learn about the body's changes is part of aging with intention. In conclusion, persistent fatigue that feels unusual, subtle balance or coordination changes, and gradual digestive shifts are 3 silent health warnings many people overlook after 50. They are not diagnoses, not predictions, and not causes for alarm. They are signals that deserve attention, curiosity, and, when appropriate, professional discussion. Aging well involves listening carefully, responding thoughtfully, and making informed choices that support quality of life over time. So, we've reached the end, but the conversation doesn't have to stop here. If this video made sense to you, leave a like. It shows me I am on the right track and helps other people find this content too. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share it with them. Sometimes simple information can make all the difference in someone's life. And look, every week I bring new content about health and healthy aging here on the channel. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. See you in the next one.